This is one of those special moments where you have a moment of history. You're able to showcase it. In a book called I Had to Survive, Dr. Roberto Canessa is with us. He survived a plane crash, was one of only 2 people, I believe, in 1972 in this plane crash.
We survived 16 people.
16 people.
16 people. Was a Fairchild F-27 turboprop engine, and we were going from Uruguay to Chile to play a rugby match there. It's a 45 passenger. We were a rugby team, and then when they were crossing the Andes mountains, they thought they had crossed the mountains, and because it was all cloudy, they couldn't see. And when they descended into the clouds, they saw that the mountains were there, and they desperately tried to climb. And then the plane began staggering there, and it hit the tail the mountains, and it lost both wings, and the fuselage began sliding on the ladder of the mountain until it abruptly stopped at the end of the mountain. All the seats were dislodged. We were thrown with incredible force against the front walls, and when it stopped, I was fainting, and I couldn't believe I was alive.
Were you practicing medicine at that time?
I was a second-year student, medical student.
Wow. Pediatric cardiologist, and you're doing great. You're saving children's lives now, right?
Well, now I am in charge of saving lives, because as they didn't rescue us, I had a commitment to help other people.
It changed your life. That moment changed your life. I mean, what you went through was horrific. How long were you stuck there?
Well, for 2 months. 2 months and 11 days. And it's 15,000 feet, 30 degrees below 0 centigrade, and no food, nothing, and it began snowing very toughly, so we had to eat the dead bodies of our friends. And but it's an incredible story, because people think this is the worst we went through, and I think there are 2 stories about how people see us and how we lived in there. I think there's a reprogramming of your mind, and the human beings have the incredible versatility to adapt to the most adverse situations. And then we learn what do we resort when all the odds are against you. And we had a national radio. We heard that the search had been called off. So like the world left us on our own.
Were you a man of faith then, Dr. Canessa?
I was a typical 19-year-old rugby player, chasing girls and having fun and trying to get along with God and not be too bad. But then when you're facing that, you get to know a different God, the God of life, the ones that you ask Him, you have all the powers, God, please let me out of here. And I thought, I know, God, this is not your blame, because for what I know, God doesn't manufacture airplanes, or God is not a pilot. I mean, we just got into this because of men's ideas, not of God's ideas.
Dr. Canessa, what injuries did you sustain?
I was very happy to assume fetal position, because some of my friends put their legs straight and they broke their knees and everything. I assumed the fetal position, so I got a very big bump on my head and a little injury in my hand. I mean, not much.
So when the impact happens and everything stops and there's no sound except perhaps crying or moaning from people who are still hanging on, what's your first move? Do you go to check on friends, your colleagues, your fellow players? What were your first movements that you remember?
I thought, well, my head is here, my arms, my legs, like an inventory of your body. I'm okay. There are lots of injured people. I must get out of the way, because the firemen and the policemen and the ambulances and the doctors, everyone's going to be here. So I just turned back for the back door of the plane, but all these had disappeared. The plane had broken into 2 pieces, and I stood in the snow, and I realized I was in the middle of the Andes. I couldn't believe that there were no one to help us. And the most diverse reactions, because some guy saying, I'm the friend of the president of Uruguay, I have immunity, no one can touch me. Another guy with a piece of iron into his stomach and helped me, Roberto, to get it out. Another with a broken leg. Another I'm blind, had his hand on his head, and when he took his hand, we could see his brains, And I said, no, this is not going on. I mean, I have to rewind. I must go back to reality. Then someone said, the pilot is alive. he was the key man. He was the one that was going to tell us what happened. He was saying, we passed Curicó, so then that meant that we were in Chile. And we believed that man, and he had made a mistake. So it's incredible. Sometimes in life, you go back to a person that's a specialist, and he made a mistake, and you don't believe that he's making a mistake.
You had parents at that time, brothers and sisters. Where's your family?
I was at home. My father was a professor in cardiology, and we were three brothers, and we went with a rugby team to play against Chile. And, we chartered a plane. It was a very modern plane at that time, so everything looked okay.
So it was eventually ruled as pilot error?
Absolutely. He said we passed Curicó. When he passes one of the points there's like a needle that goes down. There was VHS, was a health kit equipment, and this radio beam tells him when he passes one place and passes the other one. And I think that they made a mistake, but they didn't even look at the watch because it was even too soon for thinking that he had crossed the mountains. It was an Army Air Force airplane.
How are you finally rescued? Do they finally find you, or you make your way out of the area?
We made our way out. I mean, we had to trek for 11 days. We had to climb 15,000 feet and go to Chile, because we look at the map and we saw that on the scale it would be like 70 kilometers, and we knew that to the west is Chile, and the sun sets to the west. So we went trekking there, and I thought, well, this is 100,000 steps. If I can have these 100,000 steps, we'll be alive.
On the trek, more people die, or
no. On the
just
trek, there were 3 of us. No. All the people were at the fuselage there. They stayed there. They were some ones were injured, some ones were very weak. We went out trekking, 3 of us. Of course, before that, there were another trekking, and they were trapped by windstorms, and they were flatter. So when we reached the top, we realized there was a further walk, so we sent one of the guys back, and we continued trekking towards Chile.
Dr. Canessa, what is the reaction of the Chilean people when you finally get to civilization? How are you received?
They couldn't believe it. I mean, when they called Santiago, because this is to the south, there were survivors. Now, this is not true. There have been 33 plane crashes in the Andes, and no one has survived. So this person is a liar. No, I have a letter. Saying that they come from Uruguay and that they are stranded in the mountains and they have other injured friends and that they need help.
Immediately after you make it to civilization, you're processed, you're taken for treatment, I assume. When are you reunited with your family? How long after you make it to civilization?
2 days later.
2 days later.
Because it was incredible, but all the mothers that were saying that the kids were alive, they got back to their kids. For the mothers that were waiting for them, they came back. I think that telepathy works in an incredible way. And some mothers will tell my mother, you look for your son, but I'm sure my son is dead. So to get back to my mother was the driving force. I learned also that it doesn't matter how you do things, it's why, the strongest force, why you do things. And I remember that once we were to a burial of a friend of mine that had died, and the mother was devastated, and my mother told me, if one of my sons died, I'm going to die of sadness. And I remember that sentence, and I knew I was going to go back to tell my mother, don't cry anymore, I'm alive.
Did the people of your country memorialize this and have any tribute, special service after, when the dust had settled, in essence, to memorialize those who had lost their lives? How did the country handle it?
They were very supportive, and I cannot stop thanking the parents of the boys that died, because they were so helpful to us. We belong to a community. We live in the same neighborhood. My sons went to school with the nieces and the nephews of my friends that died. And there were 4 kids there that the parents died on the mountains, that we had to raise them and help them, and now they are grown-up men. And I learned so much from their bravery, because they tell me, Roberto, if I had been with you in the mountains, I would have walked out with you.
Dr. Canessa, did you ever play rugby again after that?
Absolutely. We were vice championships in Uruguay. I played in the national teams many years, and also we played. I remember very vividly that the first year after the plane crash, we were champions again, and one of the parents that died began and hugged me and said, "Roberto, he's looking to us from up there, and I'm sure he's happy." I mean, so incredible force, so much commitment. You receive from life so much force from other people, and it makes you go on. I think that the power of passion and mysticism is what really drives the world. Absolutely, no other things.
Are you still in contact with some of your fellow players and passengers?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we went there back to the site of a clash. I went with my children, and I felt that my dead friends were telling me, "Hey, Roberto, you're ashamed. Look at your belly. You are normal now." And I would tell him, "Yeah, but look, my daughter is here. I come back, but I have done lots of nice things in life. Life is there's a revenue always."
At 19, did your father want you to be a cardiologist?
No, not at all. He was, "No, don't study medicine. Medicine is terrible. People are going to be very harmful." And I said, "No, Daddy, this is my way. I want to do cardiology."
Was there a particular person that inspired you during this tragedy to change your heart, change your life, to serve others? Was there one person, or was it just the whole event?
I think that the families of the ones that died, I had a chance they didn't have, and I had to ask the answer, what are you going to do with your life now that you have it? And I thought that I should live a decent life. So they would say, "Why my son didn't survive and this person behaved so badly?" And instead of that, I was a person behaving appropriately. I think that for the memories of ones that didn't make it, I have to live at least a decent life.
Tell us about Hospital Italiano.
It's the Italian community in Uruguay. You know, in every country they build a hospital there. So my ancestors came from Italy, from Genoa, and I began working there since I was very young. I have been there for 40 years. We have a program of fetal cardiology, which is fascinating. Now we had a heart surgery on one of our patients in the womb of the mother, a 20-week-old baby, and then they got a heart tumor, and then they put it again into the mother, and now the pregnancy is going on. We have a transplant program, which is very interesting. I mean, like we had transplant from my friends that we use their bodies. We have the transplant of other people's hearts, and we have a clinic there. And then I give classes in the university, and I am part of the authority of the Faculty of Medicine.
Will stem cell research be part of the research for the future in terms of cardiology?
It is. It is now. I just was in New Orleans in the American Heart Association, 18,000 cardiologists, and the stem cells are getting cells that would beat, like the heart. But it still is very embryonic, the results. It's very difficult to get the cell to become a brain cell or become a kidney cell. There's a lot of programming in the genes there. You know the genes are there, but they don't know the interaction. The interaction is lots more complex. But these beating cells are a very encouraging project.
I often wondered, Doctor, you'd be able to speak to this. If both mother and father, as they plan to have a child, try to eat healthy and exercise, does that go a long way toward the possibility that a child will not develop early heart problems if the parents stay healthy?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's something that you cannot prevent. Congenital heart disease doesn't respect social media, culture, or nothing. It just comes out there, and there it is. But these children have incredible lives. I mean, technology has done incredible results, and this is what the book's about. The second part is about univentricular hearts, having a single ventricle, and I have the most incredible responses of my patients. The one that was in the womb of the mother, now she's 12 years old, and when she make races, she always comes last because she only has one ventricle. So the parents said, "Do you think we should let her run these races?" And then I asked her, "Do you enjoy?" "Yes, I am the last one in the race, but everyone cheers me." So I think that these kind of people have the mission of making people that have normal hearts more thankful, and to realize how lucky they are in life. People don't realize how much we have until our plane crashes. When you pray in Christ, you say, oh my God, I had an incredible life. Instead of complaining all the time. The more you have, the more you complain. What do you want? What do you want?
This book has an incredible series of photographs that are taken through and beginning. How you were able to assemble this is unbelievable. How long did it take you to put the book together?
10 years.
Wow.
It's a major masterpiece. Every sentence was written in appropriate ways. And lots of people can say, Roberto, when I got your book, I put it towards my heart because it hits my heart. And I think that's the most important thing about how passion can drive you in life and get incredible results. Passion is a driving force for science, for courage, for sports, for everything. It's passion, my friend.
Tell me about Pablo VRC.
Well, he's sitting out there. He was in the same school as I was, at the Christian Brothers of Ireland. We went to an Irish school. They were very strict and very tough on us. And they would say, this is not soccer. In rugby, the referee is always right. And I would tell, but that's unfair. And I say, who told you life is fair? Life is like this. So Pablo knows all the story. He didn't make it to the plane flight because he had to study. So he's a kind of a fellow man that came with us. He's sitting out there. If you want, we can ask him to come in, and he will give you an incredible outview.
Tell me about your children. You have children yourself?
Yes, I have.
How old are they, and what do they do?
Hilario is 40 years old. He's an architect. He does 3D imaging. At the moment, he's in Washington selling his products of 3D viewing. And the mother, which was my girlfriend at that time, said, if he's alive, I will put the name of the mountain where he was stranded. And this is St. Hilary. So this is Hilario. The other one has my name. It is a physician working with me in cardiology, 30 years old. And the other one is a girl that she's pregnant now on 6-year crown. So as I tell you, I am a rich person. Life is being so nice to me.
I'm amazed at your candor on this. 44 years later, and still speaking about it. Is this the first time you've been to Miami for the book fair?
Yes, it's a great honor.
You're going to love the people. You'll love the people.
Yes.
Dr. Roberto Canessa, the co-author of the book, I Had to Survive, our guest today on WNDB. Dr. Canessa, thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Mark, for such a nice interview.